What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Why So Sidious, a Nerd Podcast. Here with me is David and a special guest named Mark. He's a buddy of mine. He is a fellow nerd, and he's read a lot of Star Wars. He watches all the movies, so we're excited to have him on here and have his take on Old Man Logan, which is our topic today, a Wolverine comic separate from the canon 616 universe. It's a apocalyptic future where Wolverine is one of the few mutants left, one of the few heroes left, and he goes through a lot of violence and a big journey with Hawkeye, and we'll get into it. But don't forget to follow us on social media, TikTok, X, Instagram, and YouTube at Why So Sidious Pod. Check out some of our recent episodes. We've been covering the news with our Week in Geek episodes. We have our Bane trilogy review, all three books of the Bane trilogy, The Old Republic, E for Extinction comic book review to get you prepped for the villain in Deadpool and Wolverine, and more. All right, so let's get into it. Mark, thanks for coming, dude. Appreciate it.
What's up? What's up? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's get a little taste of what kind of the nerd you are. Some of your favorite Star Wars books, MCU movies, DC movies.
Ooh,
and we'll leave it at that.
I like most of the Star Wars books, especially anything that has anything to do with any of the old characters. Heir to the, what is it? Heir to the Jedi.
Heir to the Empire.
Heir to the Empire is a good one if you want to go back to the legends.
Yeah.
Anything Timothy Zahn does. The third three Thrawns were a little rough, but they were good still too.
Yeah, I couldn't get into them.
Yeah, the MCU. I've been watching the old ones, so like the original Iron Man and stuff. I will rewatch recently. Just
nice.
That's where they were killing it. Then killing it.
Right.
And DC, that's a rough choice there.
It's been slim pickings for DC.
We miss the old MCU.
Right?
Yeah, no kidding.
So are you on the Batman vs. Superman like it or hate it side?
Oh, I wasn't too keen on the old Batman vs. Superman.
Fair enough.
It was all right. You know.
It's understandable.
Yeah, we hate it.
All right, cool. Well, right. Of course. No, we like the extended cut. I do, at least. I actually do like that one.
It helped a little bit.
Oh yeah.
What about the DCU? You think James Gunn's going to bring DC back, and you think they're going to be successful?
Oh, I hope so. I mean, they got plenty of options for great stories, but they've been shooting themselves in the foot lately. So James Gunn's out of anybody. He's got a chance for sure. He's made some bangers before.
Right.
Straight up.
Loves comics, was in the MCU when it was at its peak, so he understands the system.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into Old Man Logan. So we chose Old Man Logan because with this Deadpool and Wolverine movie coming out, we saw a lot of parallels there. Apparently Wolverine did something wrong in his old universe, and terrible things happened. But we're going to get into what happened in this comic, which is theoretically what we're kind of going to assume is going to happen in the movie. Other than that, there's no Deadpool in this comic. I don't think there's a ton that's going to relate other than a few key points. But we saw like Ant-Man's head in the trailer. We saw Ant-Man's body in the comic. So, maybe some other things will cross over. Anyway, Dave, first time reading Old Man Logan overall, what did you think?
Yeah, man. So I came into this. So I kind of wish I didn't listen. So we had talked about it before, this Marvel's Wastelanders project. It was this audio series. And it kind of it had a lot of similar plot points throughout this. Like blind old Hawkeye, a bunch of Hulks running the west coast of the country, Doom running the Bible Belt or whatever it was. Like there was a lot of similarities, but there was a lot of differences too. So a couple of the things, unfortunately, I kind of knew were coming, which kind of, I think, took away from it. Like the twist at the end where you find out what actually happened with Wolverine. I was aware of that from that audio series. So when it rolled out, I was kind of already thinking, I think those aren't villains when you were seeing those panels. So if that wasn't the case, I feel like I would have liked this even more. But I still, it got me. I think I texted you saying, like, I read all 8 parts in one night. When I opened it up, I finished and went all the way through because it was just, it's creative and fun and random enough to where you just want to open the next one to see, because like we got so many random concepts of stuff I would never even consider of what if, like giant Loki being smashed by the Baxter building. I have no idea that Loki could get giant. Plenty of other things throughout it where it was just like cameo and Easter egg left and right constantly. So it was fun. The art style fit the type of story that it was. It kind of had that kind of gritty Western art style to me. So, yeah, I thought it was a solid read, and it wasn't one of my like top favorites, but for what it was a really creative, unique story, and it makes me want to continue and keep reading whatever's next in that chapter.
Right. Super fun exploring a different universe. I could just do a bunch of random stuff that you didn't even think of. Mark, what did you think? And you've read this before, right? Is this your second time reading it? Maybe your third?
Yeah, it's probably second or third. I read it a while ago. Just reread it. Oh, yeah, it's a real fun story. I mean, it flows real well. I do like the Western vibe. I just watched Tombstone the other day, so I'm in a real Western vibe kind of thing. So
Nice.
I love the spider car. That's one of my favorite parts. Him and Hawkeye rolling around in the spider cars. Can't go wrong there. Yeah, and just all the little cameos and little Easter eggs. It's a good read for sure.
Right. I feel like it's just super entertaining. Like, it's not that deep or complex, but it's just a wild ride. The art, Steve McNiven, I'm pretty sure he did Civil War.
Oh.
Don't quote me on that. I'm not positive, but I loved the art. He gets violent. Like, you see it right off the bat. It was unfortunately just a vision in his head, but when he slashes that Hulk for coming up and asking him about rent, you see how violent it gets right off the bat, all the blood, but the details are pretty realistic. It just looks solid.
Oh, yeah, and then what the Hulks do to him.
Oh, my God.
It's sad, dude. It's actually kind of sad.
It is. Pacifism's rough.
Right. They take it to a super gnarly level throughout this whole thing. And from the beginning, just the feeling of desperation really hits you hard. You see how poor they are, and then you got these Hulks. You hear about how vicious they are, and you see the consequences of not paying your rent. So, him going out and going on this big journey with Hawkeye just feels like such a desperate move, but understandable. But it's in a way that hooks you so hard story-wise. You're attached so hard. You want to see him come back and, get the Hulks off of his back.
Right.
Right. Wolverine's never down and out, He's a tough guy. You got to come around.
He's in everything. He's in every time travel story. Right, House of M. He's the guy who had his memory. Age of Ultron. He's the guy who stuck around. Days of Future Past. He's the guy who they sent back.
Was he sent back in the comic of Days of Future Past? I thought I heard something about it was Bishop or somebody else who was sent back and not Wolverine, and they changed it for the movie. But I've never read the actual comic run, so I don't know.
Me neither. He's on the front cover, though. I always assumed he was. But, yeah.
It makes sense. He's got the healing factor.
Right. Anyway, then what do you think? What a random matchup, right? Hawkeye and Wolverine.
Right.
Not a mutant.
Especially old blind Hawkeye.
Blind Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm. Just two old veterans running around, getting it done.
Right. It doesn't make sense why he's so accurate still if he's blind. He's not Daredevil,
Turned into Daredevil.
Yeah.
We thought he was worthless before he lost his vision. Everybody made fun of him back then. Now he doesn't even have sight. But, no, obviously he was pretty capable. He was driving. The man was driving blind. I don't even know if Daredevil is able to do that or not. So, yeah, he definitely picked up on some type of extra senses there.
Right. Why did they make him blind, I wonder? I mean, why did you do that? Because he's driving around, he's fighting people like normal. But someone there in the creator team was like, no, just make him blind. That'll do it.
Right. I think in Wastelanders, he just lost his sight naturally. Like, there was no accident or anything. It was just like, he just called it a cruel trick or something, or cruel fate or something. It was like, what the hell, dude? It just made him blind.
Considering his superpower is like the precision of his sight, it sucks that his eyes just die spontaneously.
That's what happens when you use them too much, You got to stop using your eyes to the full ability. You lose it too soon.
Curious, what Wastelander similarities did you see there? Or what kind of stuff would be spoiled from Wastelanders?
So in Wastelanders, which obviously, spoiler alert out there, we're obviously going to be talking about everything that happens here. In Wastelanders, you find out that Wolverine slaughtered the X-Men, but it was the Shadow King who had messed with his mind and got him to think that point. But you don't find that out throughout it, so he just keeps telling everybody he's done, kind of like this, and people are like, what the hell happened to you? Where were you, by the way? Like, we had a massive fight in the end, and you were nowhere to be found. Like, where the hell were you? So everybody's pissed at this dude, and then the other people who know what happened are pissed because he slaughtered the X-Men and they want to kill him. So yeah, when that aspect, when he's like killing Omega Red and Mr. Sinister and all that, I was like, oh, that's probably Cyclops and Storm. Then it shows the next scene. It was like, yeah, it was them. But yeah, the blind Hawkeye stuff, the old heroes popping up randomly, and again, all the Hulks running around like crazy savage Hulks, which I don't understand because they didn't explain it in the audiobook either. Why did Banner just suddenly turn into this massive redneck, like, incest dude? Like he was never like that in the other story, so why all of a sudden was he like this creepy Deliverance kind of guy?
So apparently, I got this from Comics Explained on YouTube to check out any insight into the comic series, and he said there was like nuclear bombs going off. One of the, some of the villains were using nukes, and Dr. Banner and his cousin, She-Hulk, just got super messed up by the radiation, and that's why they started breeding. Those are their children, I think. Bruce Banner and Jennifer Walters. So it was like exposure to a ton of nuclear energy from a ton of bombs, I guess.
Well, and doesn't he say in there that gamma radiation messed with his head or something? When Logan first runs into him?
Yeah, he did. You're right.
Because I do like how he starts off as crazy little old Banner. That's
well played. With the Hulk strength, though,
right?
Like in the old man form, I was like, oh, it's not Professor Hulk. It's switched. It's Banner, but he's just got Hulk's powers now.
I hated that too as a Hulk fan. Seeing him be this like gnarly, weird, whatever you want to call it. I was like, dude, I don't like this, but it's fine. I got over it. And the nuclear problem. Another thing I had on a gripe on my first read anyway was the fact that he was actually damaging the Hulk's bodies at all. Like, why don't they just heal? So that must be the damage from that radiation too. Yeah, incest too. That's right, especially the kids.
Yeah,
but him too, because he killed Hulk at the end, right?
Yeah,
yeah. That they say it's like leaves
like
a little ambiguous, but they're like he's in theory killed Hulk.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's rewind back to Hawkeye. So now I'm on issue 2 with my notes, and it was kind of a slow issue for me, honestly. But I thought the dopest thing was Hawkeye killing all the Ghost Rider dudes when they came and attacked, and you just see Hawkeye go wild with his arrows and the art. All that was sick. Hawkeye, I think, has cooler action than Wolverine in this one.
He's got some sick kill shots. It was satisfying to see Hawkeye just straight up dome people. Just like it was a little guilty pleasure. Real quick though, by the way, they're in Sacramento.
Yeah,
Old man Logan lives in Sacramento. What the hell? Yeah. I saw that and was like, what? So shout out Sacramento.
Sacramento has random panels in comics that I'll see where they just. I think they're in
so weird.
Infinity. In Infinity at one point.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, they show Sac.
I have no idea why.
Just wait till Placerville makes it on there. Butte, Montana's more on the map than Placerville because they had a SEAL go through and make it. The guy who killed Osama bin Laden.
Oh yeah.
That's
forgot
crazy.
What his name was, but
he was in town causing trouble the other day.
Really?
Oh, really?
With fat stacks of cash. Huh? I've never seen him at the bar. He'd be at the bar and he would just have a giant handful of cash, and I would just be like, "Oh, that guy can kill everybody."
And he has a killer, Frank Sinatra. Get up on karaoke, he kills it on Frank Sinatra. Got the hand movements and everything down. Oh yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time, but back in the day,
I've never seen him at the Party Palace.
Oh yeah,
never thought I would.
Frank Sinatra it all day, for sure.
That's hella funny.
Yeah. All right, so then we learned that Hawkeye's daughter's like caught by Kingpin. I forgot if we found out that she was caught or she was going after there, because eventually we find out she was there on purpose trying to take over Kingpin and become the new Kingpin. And this daughter of Hawkeye's is the daughter of Peter Parker. It's the youngest daughter of Peter Parker. Which is crazy considering Peter Parker's like older, way younger than Hawkeye already.
That's what I'm trying to think of the age difference here. And when I heard him go, oh yeah, my third ex-wife is Peter Parker's youngest daughter. I was like, what the hell, bro?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I don't know
in
what
the
the
wasteland, I guess.
Which is also a weird detail because they're saving Hawkeye's daughter, right? That's not the Spider-Man daughter.
Yeah.
And she's wearing Spider-Man uniforms. So there's way too much crisscrossing of like, okay, your ex-wife is Spider-Man's daughter, but now you're going to go save your daughter who's wearing a Spider-Man uniform. It's just, everything felt weird.
Spider-Man's granddaughter.
It was a lot going on.
Yeah.
Right.
That is one thing about this story. There were a few times where it was like, I'm just going to let that one go because it was so kind of wacky on certain things. Like his healing factor kind of just came back out of nowhere towards the end. Some stuff like that where I was like, it's just kind of a wild story, so I'm not going to be super critical on that.
Right. But because like on your point, one of those things for me was when she hit that dude's head with a shotgun and somehow beheaded him.
Yeah.
With the handle of a shotgun.
It's a hell of a swing.
She's not powerful. I mean, right? I don't think she is.
I mean, she's got spider genetics. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I guess that makes sense. If Peter Parker swung that thing at someone's tender neck with that power, I guess he could, but it's still really strange.
Probably be more of a splatter than a decapitation, but anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. But she turns out to be a bad guy. Another kind of twist that was kind of jarring for me. You got Hawkeye's daughter is just going to turn on her dad, and I don't know. So that was kind of weird. Luckily, it wasn't that significant, and we move on. Issue 4 is... Oh, no, this is not when we find out about Wolverine's situation. But for me, the middle got pretty slow. I don't know if that was like that for you guys until we meet Emma Frost, and then we go back and, then we see Red Skull, which was crazy. But yeah, getting kind of boring. Then they start getting chased by a Venom T-Rex.
The Venom T-Rex was pretty cool.
Right. Didn't see that coming.
Wild. Well, yeah, the whole issue before that was just the whole reveal of Wolverine killing everybody. I did want to say, after reading this, it made me kind of retract one of my statements regarding Deadpool and Wolverine, because I was saying that I think he's gonna have slaughtered the X-Men in his universe in that when Deadpool comes and brings him back in. But kind of seeing how much it broke him, like he said, he straight wandered through the woods sobbing for weeks. Like finding out he slaughtered his friends and his only family, like it full on broke him. So I kind of hope that doesn't happen, just because Deadpool's plucking him when he's still pretty young, so not much time has passed, it seems, in Deadpool and Wolverine. So I don't know. I'm thinking maybe he didn't slaughter them all just after reading this. Maybe he just let them all die, or let them down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because doesn't it say he laid on the railroad tracks and
Yeah.
let the train run him over a bunch of times?
Yeah,
And that's
like
what
broke
brings
his brain.
passages.
Yeah. Yeah, it broke him, man. That was pretty gnarly. They did a good job at writing that, because I felt like I was like, oh.
Sad.
Again, I knew that was coming, but it was still heavy.
All right.
It's just kind of weird they picked Mysterio out of all the people.
Yeah.
But
Well, look, that's his power.
That
Right?
is-
Yeah, I
Illusions.
guess
Right.
it does work.
But it was Shadow King and Wastelands?
Yeah, which I'm not
Weird.
familiar with who really that is.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
I guess for the listeners, Shadowland is like an audio book only. It's not a book you could read at all. It's only an audio, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. Originally from Peacock. It was like only on Peacock, right? And then it was about it was like kind of like the Old Man Logan timeline, following these detectives trying to figure out maybe some murders or something that Wolverine was causing.
Oh, are you talking about the one I listened to, or a different one?
I'm talking about the very first one that you showed me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, no. That was different. That was Wolverine. That was a totally different. That was another audio series which followed Wolverine. But then Wastelanders is like you get old Black Widow in one of the stories, old Hawkeye, old Peter Quill, and Rocket Raccoon, which that one's hella sad story. And then you got Wolverine, and then they all combined in the end. I think they had a second season where they like wrapped it all up. So there's a few different Wolverine audio series out there that are I liked, at least.
They were really good. Yeah, they really pull you in.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what we keep referring to. But with him killing all the X-Men, I thought that art was spectacular, and that just made me really want to see that happen, like in real life. I want to see Wolverine do that to a ton of villains like that. We actually get stuff like that in like Remender's X-Force, and some comics have that kind of Wolverine action. But I think it was the coolest ever seeing him tear those villains apart like that is just super tragic when you find out they were all heroes.
Yeah.
It was vicious. He was beheading people, slicing them up, blood flying everywhere.
The Bullseye. He said he fought with Bullseye for 90 minutes and they were tearing each other apart. But then at the end, he's holding Jubilee. So I was like, did he fight Jubilee for 90 minutes? Did she hold her own that long? Like,
all right.
But
That's what it sound like.
That was pretty gnarly, that whole Bullseye sequence.
What are Jubilee's powers?
Like fireworks out of her fingers?
Oh, no.
I don't think.
Or like Dazzler?
No. more useful than Dazzler, but I don't think she's like a very high level of mutant power.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. 90 minutes. Jubilee is, she's got
Fighting
some potential.
Yeah,
Stop, please.
Wouldn't admit that, Wolverine.
All right, let's go back to this T-Rex. So, an old Black Bolt stops the T-Rex.
Just whispers little sweet nothings.
Yep, he politely suggests that the Venom T-Rex stops and, blows it away. I thought that's funny. Just got all these old characters. They do better than Hickman did with Black Bolt's powers when he was, like, yelling at an Outrider, and all it did was knock him off the building.
Yeah.
Is Black Bolt in there anywhere else? He just kind of shows up for that little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, that was it.
Just that.
Well, if anybody's gonna fight Venom, it's going Black Bolt's a good choice.
Yeah.
A Venom T-Rex, who else but Black Bolt? See, they could branch out with a lot of stuff. I'd love to see an Old Man Hawkeye series now.
Yeah.
Right? You could definitely expand the whole different areas controlled by different people and stuff. And
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Could be sick.
Yeah. Because Doctor Doom even shows up one time, and he doesn't do anything. It was completely insignificant.
Just shows
you just see him, like, watching as Doctor Doom would, but nothing comes of it. Like, it seems like they were going to build a universe out of this, but...
There's a lot more books than I expected. I got to check out some of them.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm very curious.
Because the next set's, like, called Warzone, and I think there's, like, 5 or 6 of them, but then there's, like, a ton after that.
Right.
Ooh.
So we have this Old Man Logan series, which was isolated a bunch of years later. Bendis did a Warzone crossover where the Secret Wars with everybody caused the Old Man Logan to end up in the 616. And that was a super good comic. But then Jeff Lemire picked up the title and started his volume 1 and kept going. And it's fantastic. It's just Old Man Logan in the 616 universe, but it's super violent. The art is Sarantino, who's a really very unique artist, very unique, stands alone. So solid art, solid story. But if you haven't checked that out, you guys should read that. Jeff Lemire's Old Man Logan,
Definitely
super good. They have later in volume 6 or 7, he comes back and has another fight with the Hulks, with the hillbilly Hulks. That was pretty satisfying.
because the first fight was brutal. He was tearing them apart.
Right.
I was sorry. There was one other thing. Emma Frost shows up, and they're like, "How the hell are you so young?" She's like, "Because I'm basically making people see me this way. Like even our surroundings doesn't look as good." And that was another thing. And the Wastelanders, Emma, everybody was just in love with her, and then all of a sudden later in the chapter, she lets down her veil, and it just describes her as this absolutely haggard old lady who just looks awful because she's old and worn out, and she's just been convincing everybody, like getting in everybody's head to make her look young still. So it was kind of a trip. Little bit of vain use of powers there, I got to say, Emma, but you do you.
Right. Who does that sound like? From Game of Thrones.
The red.
Oh, the Red Woman.
Yeah.
Such a gnarly scene.
Melisandre?
Yeah.
Melisandre. Shoot, that was a disappointment.
Oh, the Gun of Thrones.
I did not need to see that.
It's kind of like I don't know if I'd rather see that or the Hound's giant penis peeing into a river.
Seems like that one stuck with you, huh?
Yeah, I totally forgot that happened, but
Not me, never. Know every
it's
detail.
imprinted in the cortex there.
Yeah, it's in my brain now. No, but so things get crazy, right? Hawkeye. Oh wait, let me rewind because
Yeah.
Emma says something interesting about mutants. That they were not the next step in human evolution at all. They were just a misstep, an anomaly.
A blip.
Yeah, and I thought that was super interesting with all the hype that mutants have and being, the next step in evolution.
Dark.
But anyway, yeah, the delivery is made. The delivery that Wolverine went on this journey with Hawkeye across all of America, by the way. And turns out it was a sting operation. SHIELD picks up the package and shoots Hawkeye in the head. Boom. So, like, another one of those moments, because, like, these alternate universe stories, when you could play with the characters more than usual, very unexpected stuff like this happens, is one of those moments.
Yeah, it was a jaw dropper. I was not expecting that.
And Hawkeye is just trying to do the right thing, get some more heroes to help fight the villains. Because what,
Yeah.
you got 99 vials of super serum? That's what he's supposed to be delivering?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
it's a lot of captains.
Was it Red Hood or was it Red Skull that called the hit on that? Or
Yeah.
I was mixed on. Okay, yeah, that's why Wolverine ended up going over there.
Yeah, it was a whole setup by Red Skull. But they were in the body bags, right? And then Wolverine busts out the body bag and...
Yeah,
Yeah.
because his
Starts
healing
to
factor returned.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It was cool
Love
how
that.
Red Skull had all the
Trophies.
trinkets. Yeah,
Yeah.
trophies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was sick. He's just
Right, and
dressed
then-
as Captain America.
Yeah,
Messed
right.
up in the head.
That's a little crazy.
And we saw him talking a bunch of crap to Captain America, and it was interesting. And I don't know if you guys would be familiar, but the design was the Bucky Captain America, like straight up.
Oh, I
didn't notice
that. Huh.
He has the weird black triangular thing on his waist, and that's totally the Bucky. And it's
Yeah.
interesting they chose that Captain America. It must have been written during that time. I guess we could easily look that up, but yeah.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something.
Yeah. But things get crazy, dude. Like Wolverine ends up in an Iron Man costume, so, things really hit
Flying
the
mostly
fan.
back across the country.
Because his character seems like the type who would never get into an Iron Man suit. Like, if it was the MCU, I feel like he would just deny it. But it's sick. Got him back home.
When
Yeah.
rents due, you got to do what you got to do.
Right.
We've all been there. We've all been there. I love seeing him wielding the Cap shield and killing Red Skull with the shield. That was sick. That was satisfying.
That beheading makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he goes home with his Iron Man costume, and why do I say it like that? Whatever. He flies home in his suit.
Cosplays across the country. Goes
Bird
home.
costume? Come on. No, and finds his family dead. I'm just fuming at this point. I'm like, oh, these hillbillies. They're already someone that you hate so much, and then they just kill the family, and you're just like,
That was brutal.
but then both pages black out, and you get the snick. So he popped his claws out, because I guess we didn't mention
sick.
the whole time he has refused to pop out his claws ever since he killed all the X-Men, and for 50 years? What did
50
he say?
years, yeah.
He hasn't had he hasn't popped his claws. So when he found his family dead after what the Hulks did to him at the beginning of the book, that was it. Pops his claws, and then the next issue is just a slaughter. He kills
Slaughter of all the
everybody.
hillbillies.
Oh my god, there was some
Fight.
gruesome ass kill shots throughout those
Right.
pages.
They're good.
It was pretty
Right.
sick.
Bruce Banner eats him to finish him off, turns into the Hulk after fighting him as an old man. We see him tussle with Wolverine as an old man. That's kind of fun. But then turns into the Hulk, eats him, and then 7 hours later, a dude comes into the cave, says, "Hey, doesn't Wolverine has a healing factor?" And he pops out of the stomach,
Hulk
kills
has
Hulk.
a tummy ache.
Yeah.
Well, he comes in, he goes, "Hey, I think it's just me and you left. Everybody's dead outside. Like, I just came all the way across. I don't know how we're gonna reproduce and create more Hulks now. There's just 2 guys left." But yeah, that whole thing was kind of weird. I don't know. The whole hillbilly, they got like VHSs to come watch with Papa Hulk while he's sitting in his cave. It was
Wasn't
pretty
he
out
sitting
there.
in the cave with the baby? What they
Yeah.
call Baby Banner? Like,
Yeah.
they never,
Yeah.
like, what's up with Baby Banner?
Right?
Like,
They do so much, but don't explain anything.
There is a lot
then-
going on,
well,
no doubt.
Logan took him. He took the baby. Like, do we have like a Mandalorian and Grogu type
I was just
stories coming ahead with Logan and Baby Hulk?
No doubt, no doubt.
It was pretty odd.
Yeah, and that's it, right? I mean, it's kind of an abrupt ending, but just a wild ride. I think that's why it's so popular. It's just so fun and unexpected throughout.
Because at the end, he goes off, or they have the funeral, and then he walks off, or the lady asks him if he can save the world, kind of, or whatever. And he's like, I'm off to save the world.
Yeah.
Right, which is interesting.
What else am I going to do? Heads on out. Love it.
Which, dude, I want to see that continuation. Like, see him go to the...
That's where it goes.
Take over Kingpins.
That is? Okay.
Well, it gets confusing, though. Because it's
But when he ends up in 616, all the old territory stuff goes out the window.
Well, because in the next thing, it's kind of like a weird thing where he kind of gets mixed up in the God Doom business.
Oh. Yeah.
And that's how he ends up in 616 and stuff.
Oh,
right.
okay.
So you're saying before that he was about to go...
Maybe he did some stuff in between.
Yes, because he climbs a wall, and that's how he ends up with everything.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
I don't want to let too much on. I had to read part of it because I was just going through, and I was like, well, hell. He keeps going. But
well, it's super good, too. It's like, I think, the best Wolverine run.
Yeah, because it's cool. And all the God Doom stuff is always crazy with doors and all them.
Oh. Yeah. But, so, kind of an abrupt ending, in my opinion, and not a happy ending, necessarily. You get the slaughtering, you get Wolverine going feral, and that's always a treat, but not a happy ending. Just kind of ends. His family's still dead. So, yeah. Fun read, like I said. I don't know. What kind of aspects are they going to take to Deadpool 3? Mark, what do you think? I mean, if anything at all, because after reading it this time, expecting stuff to see... that I would expect to cross over, I actually didn't really find much at all.
Right.
I could definitely see like a blind Hawkeye and Wolverine, like old Wolverine, roll up in a Spider-Mobile thing at some point in time, like something like that. Oh yeah.
Check. Yeah.
I mean,
could you imagine if they do an old Hawkeye, but he's in a wheelchair with a huge leg cast because of what happened in reality? This would be the movie to do it.
No doubt, right? Yeah,
that would be
fuck. Damn snowcat got me.
He actually says it.
Yeah, the new Deadpool movie could go anywhere, that's for sure.
I know.
No doubt.
I know. I've never been so excited yet. So so confused about what to expect. Just have zero, he's gonna go save the Marvel universe. How? Why? Like, what are you gonna do? That's the stuff that we have no clue.
The popcorn bucket's great so far.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know how that became a trend to just make the most sexually suggestive popcorn buckets to go with your movies, but I feel like it's going to keep going. Yeah, I was with you, though. I read this, and then at the end of it, I was like, dang, I don't think there's a lot I can correlate back to the Deadpool and Wolverine. Again, other than the traumatic past, maybe he did slaughter them. We'll see. But one thing I will say is it just got me hyped to see... So we got, Berserk Wolverine in Logan. We got that at the end, though. He was still old throughout that movie. He wasn't quite peak Wolverine, even though he was getting some gruesome kills that were very, very satisfying to watch. But I'm just, at least me, I really got to know Wolverine. Obviously, the animated series, which there was no violence. And then the Fox movies, which, again, he killed people for sure, but it wasn't anything like slitting throats and just absolutely tearing people apart. So... I'm hyped to see what looks to be at least a prime Wolverine, not an old Wolverine, in a Deadpool movie where anything goes and just see some absolutely gnarly Wolverine kills. So, if anything I took away from reading this comic and tying it back into the movie was we got some savage kill shots from Wolverine in this comic run, and I think we're going to get some equally savage ones in the movie.
I'm right there. I think this is some of the most satisfying Wolverine action, art-wise, in a comic like ever. Yeah. Other than this, Remender's X-Force is definitely up there. But, I mean, the McNiven art with that detail and realistic stuff and the blood and the visceral nature there, that's peak Wolverine action there. It just sucks that he was killing heroes for some of it.
Yeah.
So we saw in the comic the giant Ant-Man skeleton. We saw it laying on the ground. It's not the same as the trailer, right? He doesn't pop his helmet open. It looks like that's Cassandra Nova's base, right? She walked out of that head.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. We also had Red Skull on Mount Rushmore in this comic. So do you think that's possible? We'll see that in some universe as an Easter egg?
Oh, I could definitely see that happening.
In the Void, bro, I could totally see us seeing a Mount Rushmore with Red Skull in the Void. Like, that'd be sick.
Has a Mount Rushmore, I guess.
Well, because they got the pyramids, because the Void, purges full-on areas sometimes.
True.
Or the TVA purges stuff into the Void. So we saw a bunch of massive stuff in the Void. Like, we saw the Avengers Tower, except it had Kang written on it and stuff. Like, there was, like, full-on cities that were purged into the Void. So I think we could see some cool little Easter eggs like that.
I didn't see that Kang Tower.
Yeah, there was an Avengers Tower in the Void, and then people, like, did an ultra zoom. But it was spelled Qang or something. It wasn't spelled with a K. So it was
weird.
And people were deep diving into it. But Avengers Tower was in the Void. You could see it in the backdrop of a city landscape there in Loki. So
it's Quasar and Kang's baby.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say there's another name I know that starts with a QA like that. But
yeah,
a little wild. But
we also saw a giant fallen Loki skeleton, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
Has he ever been giant in a story? Is that something I'm missing? Okay.
Right? I don't think so.
First I ever saw. Maybe got a little Ant-Man tech, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now I just want to
shrink him.
I just want a comic showing the whole event. Like, we saw Thor's hammer also. There's a place called Hammer Falls. That's where his hammer was left after he died. I want to see all that take place in a comic, dude. Every bit of it. Giant Loki, Ant-Man, whatever happened with him. How did he kill Thor? How did you kill Thor? Everything.
Right.
That would be such a sick comic.
Right.
Very apocalyptic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, your villain's just killing heroes.
Did they find Ultron's head at the end?
I know we got at least Ultron 8, whoever the hell that was, showed up, but
it was like a super
did they
nice
find
servant.
that at the end?
Or
I
not
was
servant.
confused.
Well, it felt like a Star Wars droid.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Because I think that might be in the next one, actually. That's what leads him to the action.
Okay. I will say one last tie into the Wastelanders show or series. There were multiple instances throughout each chapter where there was like a flashback of somebody, or it was telling it from like the civilian side of things, and they're seeing it was the V-Day, which was Villain Day, is the day that all the heroes fell and the villains took over, and it was showing like people just walking through New York on an average day, and then all of a sudden there was a bright green flash, and then they saw Iron Man, and somebody else met Iron Man in the sky, and so you're getting all these like eyewitness testimonies throughout the story of people seeing crazy stuff of the villains and the heroes during that crazy battle. The Hulk gets dropped into a nuclear reactor, and so there's a massive green flash across like half the country, and there's just a bunch of different stuff that it gave us way more insight into that final battle that was really cool to listen to, but it would have been really cool to see that on the page and see some of that artwork.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
It was interesting. It drags at points, but I was interested the whole way through. I finished it pretty quick. They got a whole voice cast for everybody and sound effects and all that stuff. So
that's always fun.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's entertaining.
I think I lost you.
I was muted. That's my bad.
There you go.
This guy.
All right, that pretty much covers the comic, right? Fun story, not a lot to dive into. A couple weird, random little Easter eggs we could look for. I could see Ultron being a little servant in the movie somewhere. That'd be awesome.
Ultron hasn't shown up for a while.
I know. He's like top 3 favorite villain for me too in the MCU.
Well, does the MCU
with Spare's voice?
Do they have a plan for after Deadpool Wolverine since Kang's gone now?
Well, so we can get into that a little bit. So, I mean, are you familiar with the CEO change-up last year?
Mm-hmm. And I did see they cast somebody for Silver Surfer.
Yeah, the girl from Ozark.
Julia Garner.
And Galactus is actually going to be the villain of Fantastic Four.
Right. We've been waiting for Galactus for a while now.
Right.
And the cloud doesn't count. We're ready to actually see Galactus here. Not
no
like
doubt.
the Fantastic Four movies. But I heard there's been some rumors with... because they were saying Avengers 5 would be part 2 at one point was a rumor coming out, and now the latest is Avengers 5 is going to be a standalone movie, and that they're still going to keep Kang in, but the Council of Kang is now going to be different people. They're going to be different people. So like Kang Ultimate, there's a rumor of somebody who's going to be stepping in his role that won't be Jonathan Majors. But it appears that they're actually going to continue part of the Kang story, and then Secret Wars is going to be a 2-parter. So we're going to be getting 3 Avengers movies out of the next 5 and 6, essentially. So that's like the newest kind of rumors coming out. But I just feel like they could have kept Jonathan Majors, but I guess we'll see what they do. I don't know. It's so who knows,
Yeah, do a public apology and an explanation. I don't know. He didn't. I don't know. We don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Emotions get crazy though. I feel bad that all that's not private for them. Unless he really is harming people. It sucks that that's just changed his life, and it could have been just a heavy fight. We've all probably been in a heavy fight with a wife.
Yeah. It can escalate quick for sure.
Yeah,
and he seems like
make a joke, but
that is a very, very optimistic view of things. He could be a dirtbag. I don't know, but
yeah. But
with us,
sorry, I was just gonna say I remembered who they're talking about. Well, they didn't specifically say, but Kang Major, whoever the main Kang guy that would be, is Kang Prime. The rumor is he will be played by a well-known high-budget actor who isn't very popular in the public opinion currently. And I'm like, wait, we got rid of Jonathan Majors to get another guy who's in hot water in the public opinion right now? Like,
but worth a lot of money?
He's a high-budget actor that apparently people
Will
are pissed
Smith.
at him.
It's Will Smith.
Oh my God, that would actually track.
Checks the boxes, but I would never have.
I don't want that. I don't.
No,
do not concede, but that would track. That checks the box.
Will Smith shows up. Kane's just getting jiggy with it.
No, now I have another one. It's Donald
Dwayne.
Trump.
He could use the money probably.
That's a villain.
The greatest Kang there's ever been. Everybody says it.
Yeah. We don't like what Tony's doing. We don't like what he's doing. We're gonna fix things real quick. We're gonna go.
Little Rocket Man flying into the sky over there.
All right. So wait. I'm starting to think Fantastic Four is a different universe, right? Or did we kind of heard that, and it's starting to make sense.
It makes sense to me. And then at the end, they find themselves in the 616. That makes the most sense to me.
That gives me the Maker idea even that I can't talk again. Here we go. So that makes me think the Maker is even more possible. If he is actually a different universe as Fantastic Four, that is the Maker.
True.
If he decides to be a villain, but
I was going to say, so do you think Pedro would be straight up playing the Maker and not the regular Reed Richards?
That's why I don't think it's that accurate, because we don't have a Fantastic Four like that. If that's just going to be the 616 Fantastic Four, then that's the route they're going with. But still, I don't know. Yeah. The Maker's a long shot, but yeah, if it is a different universe as Fantastic Four, I actually don't love that. Like, okay, then you just end up in the 616. I would much rather. We had a theory before there that they just went and explored space, and because of the interstellar effect with the time, they returned to Earth, and it's 2025 now, and they're they left in the 60
years.
Yeah.
What about the quantum realm too?
That's what I thought, or the quantum
where they
realm.
get their powers from the quantum realm. We've already established it, and then they finally come back. But that would totally make sense too. I'm good with either three of those things being the explanation to them. But yeah,
it's just coming from a different universe is my least favorite.
I probably agree. Yeah, it's just not. You're not the same. You don't exist in this universe. But one thing I like about it is if he gets to our universe building the bridge. Remember, the bridge was a big thing in the Fantastic Four Hickman stuff, and then that's where he goes and meets all the Council of Reeds, and the bridge is how they go explore other universes in the Avenger run. Okay.
So if he creates the bridge, I think that'd be really cool, or something that'll stick around. Or the spaceship that they used to survive to make it into Secret Wars, because a group of people like Miles Morales and maybe even like Thanos, other people were in that spaceship that survived the reality in between realities, and that's how they didn't die.
It was outside time and space kind of thing.
Yeah.
The ship.
I don't remember that part.
That was good.
I got to reread it.
Yeah, because that's the only reason like Miles Morales and other characters were in the Secret Wars story, and they were the only ones that remembered the truth. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised they didn't throw Wolverine in there.
Right?
Was that Ultimate Miles that ended up in Secret Wars? Was that from the Ultimate Universe?
Miles is only the Ultimate.
Okay.
Only he ends up in 616. He does like Wolverine
but
does.
But it comes from Ultimate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I just found a freaking deal, dude. $50 for a Miles Morales omnibus. I'm so stoked. I'm gonna get into all the Miles, and I picked up his very first. Like I'm gonna start from the beginning and do it all.
Straight up.
I'm excited.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes with the Fantastic Four. There's no way it's going to be a shitty movie because of all the bombs. And now that it's in the MCU, they're back home. This movie's going to be sick, dude. I don't care. I think it's going to be so good.
They're about due.
They're due.
Mm-hmm. They need this. They need that. Daredevil is all in the same year. Captain America, which is making me nervous.
I'm getting nervous.
I am extremely nervous for Captain America. But
I feel like it's a 50% Chapek film. Instead of the Iger era.
The fact that they're doing reshoots again, and they add Giancarlo Esposito's character is straight up added in reshoots. He was never a part of it, and so they're just throwing him into this movie that's already been half made. And from the set photos, he looks like maybe William Stryker, maybe just some new random guy. We made some jokes. Maybe it's Nick Fury's brother, Dick Fury, or some other. I forgot. Sam's dad or somebody old. Like, who knows? I don't know, but we were hoping like Norman Osborn or something like that, and it's obviously that doesn't seem to be the case.
Right.
But early test screenings were all poor reception from all audiences for this movie, so there's just a lot of stuff where I'm like, we'll see. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm really, really worried. It's one of those movies that it was made during the Chapek era. For the audience, we're talking about Chapek got fired last year and replaced by Bob Iger, who was the CEO in the best Marvel era. And the phases 1 through 3, that was Iger and Feige. Chapek has been in charge for a couple years. Things have been mediocre for a couple years, direct correlation. But this movie was shot so much while Chapek was in charge. And I know they changed a lot of it, but I mean, if they already made a certain amount of the movie, you can't change the DNA of the movie. So I'm really worried this is going to have a Chapek feel to it. So,
yeah. And when you already got a bunch of reshoots going, reshoots are they don't lead to greatness. Most of the time, you know.
Right. Well, so I know reshoots are a part of production 100% of the time. Like the reshoots are fine, but the amount of reshoots here is getting concerning. And why would you have to
brand
add
new characters? Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah. That's another level of reshoots. Yeah.
The only good reason I could see you adding a character this late is if you had a big plan for him in another movie and you set up some stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, but
something
he's an agent. He's like some kind of agent. That doesn't seem like Dr. Doom, Magneto, or any of the Norman Osborn, any of the big characters theorized. That ain't any of them, you know?
Yeah, he's got throwing knives in his chest and stuff. Giancarlo's like 60.
I don't know. He's bullseye. No, but I guess my point is he's not a character that you need to. It's not important to set up a little Easter egg for him if he's not Magneto or he's not Dr. Doom or Norman Osborn. You know, if he's just an agent, that's not the reason they added him in this movie. So it's just now I'm concerned, dude, because Cap 4 and you don't have Chris Evans. That's your star power. Everyone loves him as Falcon. I love Anthony Mackie as Falcon, but I don't like him as Captain America, and I know I'm not alone on that.
And isn't Bucky not even going to be in this? I heard word like he's either barely or he's not going to be a part of this plot, and he's going to be in Thunderbolts. But I could have swore I heard that, and if that's the case, that's even worse. Like,
Falcon and Winter Soldier just came out, and you're not going to have dude. You need Bucky and Captain America 4, where everything that happened in Falcon Winter Soldier, I feel like has the potential to become way cooler on a rewatch after Cap 4. But then if you don't have Bucky, that already takes a lot of that aspect away.
Yeah.
They even got a real good Lethal Weapon vibe to them, you know, the buddy cop system. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love it. I love their chemistry they have. Like, I love the talk back and forth. I enjoy all their screen time. But, yeah, no, you know, take out Bucky and we'll throw in a 66-year-old guy to be somebody with throwing knives and bulletproof vest. See how it goes.
I'm also really concerned because Hulks are going to have a big role in this movie, and I don't want them to butcher any more Hulk stuff. I thought if they were bringing Hulk back, I'm going to be very optimistic about them doing it the right way, even if it is Red Hulk or whatever. But yeah, this feels too much like Chapek and scary, man. Don't mess up Captain America,
right?
Yeah. Well, the first movie sucked. Well, it didn't suck in my opinion, but it's the worst.
You had it right.
So, I mean, do you have anything else you could think of the future as far as MCU goes?
I'm just hoping for the best. I don't want any more super sad movies like the last Guardians of the Galaxy. That one was a little brutally sad, with all the creatures.
That's tough.
I know. As animal lovers, it's
right.
It's super sad to see the fear in the little animal's eyes as a hand is coming to reach for him. You're just like, no, please.
One thing I'd really like to see is a little more deep dives on the Easter eggs. The original ones had way better Easter eggs, I feel like, than the new ones have.
I miss that so much, and it makes it fun to talk about. Now we do a podcast, I want to talk about those. Put those back.
Dude, and just little details of connecting tissue, they used to do stuff with Tony. So in the first Iron Man, I was watching a clip about this, and he gets hit with that sonic noise from Obadiah Stane that puts him out. And Obadiah takes his stuff, and he's like, it's whatever weapon tech that was. It was that sonic noise. And then in Avengers: Age of Ultron, there's this piercing noise, and everybody at the party covers their ears and all reacts to it. And Tony doesn't flinch at all, and it's because he learned from Iron Man 1. He updated his armor to specifically, or whatever he's wearing in his ear, to block out any type of sonic weaponry like that. And there was just always tiny little details from one movie to the next where it's like, oh, he straight up did that because of what happened in that last movie. And now it just feels like we're all over the place. There's no little connectivity like that. There's no Easter eggs that are getting you hyped. It feels like they just have lost a lot of that magic. So hopefully Deadpool is the first start in bringing that stuff back.
Yeah, and again, that's a Chapek thing.
You think Loki's going to be in Deadpool?
That's a great question. I wanted to ask that too.
TVA.
I feel like it makes almost makes more sense than any other possible cameo. If you're going to fix the MCU, you're not going to consult the man holding the timelines together,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How can Deadpool fix it, but Loki's not going to be the guy to fix it? What needs to be fixed that Loki can't fix?
Well, he's got to hold the tree branches.
He does have to hold the peach trees.
And what happened to Cable? Did he go back in time?
That's someone. Do you think Cable will show up?
I don't know.
Well, unless Josh Brolin was trolling everybody, he was like, I really wanted to come back for this film, and I was kind of disappointed I didn't get to come back because I would have loved to reprise the character and get another. I loved working on Deadpool 2, and it was like, dude, I loved him. I loved him as Cable, even though I know physically he's not accurate to comics. He was very small, but I freaking loved him. And so maybe Josh Brolin is just messing with people and he will show up. That'd be cool. But yeah, I
thought your point was going to be that it's Josh Brolin, so it's Thanos. But since it's such a big CGI character, you think that wouldn't be too jarring?
I don't think they do stuff with Sean Gunn. He's like, well, it's not, but it kind of the same. He's like 4 different characters where he does mocap and then he shows up as whatever his name is in Guardians of the Galaxy, one of the Ravagers. So there's been multiple people who have done CGI mocap stuff, and then they've showed up as an actual person, too, in the MCU. So I don't think it's too far off. And it's Deadpool. Yeah, it's multiversal crazy stuff.
It's a giant purple man with the chins. It would work. It would. Yeah. I don't think it would be too jarring.
If we could get Chris Evans as the Human Torch showing up, then we could get Josh Brolin as Cable popping up, too,
Yeah.
I think Robert Downey Jr. showing up.
You think so?
That'd be wild.
I think he's just going to show up as a weird little cameo. There is a part in the trailer where it shows like a car pull up and the hood emblem is like the Iron Man emblem.
Oh,
really?
I bet there's going to be I bet he shows up, probably from a different universe, just some crazy rich, whatever Tony Stark's doing kind of dude,
Alcoholic Tony.
Right? Yeah, there we go.
Actually, let's not. That's kind of a darker storyline, I guess, but... Yeah, that'd be wild. They had RDJ in this movie too. My goodness.
One more MCU thing. What do you think? Do you think the Thunderbolts will be good? Are you looking forward to that?
I hope it's good. I like the idea of the Thunderbolts. Kind of what's the DC version of them? The
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, kind of the Suicide Squad feel. Who's gonna play the Red Hulk?
Harrison Ford.
It's Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
What? I did not know that.
Yeah.
He's cast as what's his name? William Hurt's character, Thunderbolt Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they already have McDonald's toys that are Red Hulk toys that have the Captain America 4 label on them. So he's definitely going to be in the movie.
No doubt.
Which is
no
crazy.
Doubt.
Like,
He's
what?
81.
Red Hulk?
He's
Right?
81 years old.
He does seem a little crotchety for you. He'd be perfect for the role nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
true.
but we know he didn't sign a 10-year contract, so we know Red Hulk ain't lasting long.
Right.
And you know they didn't recast him just to recast someone else to keep Red Hulk around.
No doubt.
So,
no
yeah,
doubt.
He's dead. In the comics, Hulk beat him by making him so mad because Red Hulk's powers like increase his body temperature, and he got so mad that he just like
Melted.
passed out. Yeah.
That's one way to go.
I think Thunderbolts is going to be huge. I think it's going to be way bigger than we expect. And
I
I
hope
think
so.
Sentry. I think maybe Red Hulk becomes a problem and Sentry beats him in Thunderbolts. I think Captain America 4 is going to play into Thunderbolts a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe not Red Hulk, but Sentry has got to fight somebody, and I think it's going to be an Asgardian of some sorts. Because in the comics, they had Asgard was on Earth after Ragnarok, and the superhero registration was on, and Norman Osborn ended up attacking them because they weren't registered, right? And Asgard's on Earth in the MCU, and I kind of think that whoever's in charge of the Thunderbolts is going to be tasked with removing Asgard or something like that. And it's not going to be Norman Osborn, but whoever it is. Who else is Sentry going to fight?
My thought
Not
is maybe they bring him late and Red Hulk's just
Yeah.
whooping Thunderbolt's ass, and then Sentry gets called in, and they kind of didn't want to bring him in because they know he has mental. Maybe we barely get him. Like maybe he just comes in at the end in the third act to kind of help them take out Red Hulk, and then we get a hint of his psychotic hidden nature. Who knows? I don't know. I have no idea how they're going to use him. Because Yelena ain't fighting him. So
Right, exactly. She's not going to go fight the Red Guardian.
yeah, I don't know. Hope it's
So
good.
I'm actually really optimistic about Thunderbolts, probably more so than the regular crowd, and less optimistic about Cap 4. Very optimistic about Daredevil Born Again. It sounds like they came in, changed most of it, where Captain America 4 might be 50% Chapek. I think Daredevil's going to be like 10% Chapek, if that.
Yeah.
Sounds like Feige came into the studios and said, "What the hell are you guys doing?" Shut them down and started over. And I think that's awesome, dude. He's our hero. He's an Avenger.
Bro,
Yeah.
something
He's
about
a-
Daredevil didn't show up till episode 4 in costume. Like,
Right.
what?
What are you doing?
What are we doing here? Yeah, so they nipped that in the bud at least.
Real quick, Star Wars. How do you feel about Star Wars lately, Mark? You know me, I don't know. We haven't talked a ton about Star Wars lately, but I'm pretty bummed out lately. I'm sitting here trying to rewatch Star Wars, and I've seen them all so many times, or they're not satisfying because we haven't gotten any Star Wars content, consistent Star Wars content for the past few years. Just like Marvel, I can't rewatch all that stuff anymore. Like we've watched all that so many times in the past few years. We haven't been able to restock our arsenal of rewatchable movies, and the Star Wars is kind of similar. So, what do you think? And then, are you excited for Acolyte also on top of that?
I hope the best for Acolyte. I mean, it's one of those things I really want it to be good, but I've read a bunch of the High Republic, so if it's kind of going off that, it's going to be a hit or miss kind of thing. But
Oh, the timing works out there. I wonder if they did that because they were planning so much.
because it is like 500 years in the past, right?
It's
100.
100?
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's the
'cause I
tail
think
end of the High Republic. Or maybe it's right after it ends. I forget what the timeline is.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, hopefully it's good. It's always fun to see a bunch of Jedi and lightsaber battles. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
some good lightsaber action would definitely help the cause. Like, we need some good, like, the last movies just... We need something like Revenge of the Sith. Obi-Wan
Right,
and
yeah.
Anakin battling kind of stuff. I mean, I
You
did
know-
like Ahsoka.
Yeah,
Me too.
I did too.
I liked it a lot.
it
That
was
lightsaber
solid.
action there was solid.
It was pretty good.
Best we've had in
Yeah.
a long time.
For sure.
The new Tales from the Empire wasn't too bad either. Kind of
Yeah.
give you a little story on... I always
I
wonder
like
what happened
the
to that
first two
Brius chick.
episodes. Yeah, I just I liked the first 2 episodes of both of those, and then the final episode for each arc was a little disappointing for me, especially Barris, the way she went out.
Barris.
That was, spoiler alerts, but I mean, she's fine. She's a healer. But dude, with the action, Acolyte's supposed to like be popping off with action scenes. Apparently, they went really hard with the choreography, and so there's aspects that gets me excited. But then when I hear the cast talking about stuff, and I hear the showrunner talking about stuff in the promo interviews, like Carrie-Anne Moss's character, Trinity in The Matrix, her character, she literally, it's the term that they're all describing it on set. Her specialty is force foo. And so she's doing all these crazy kind of acrobatics, but like
kung fu.
She was like talking about how it's like dance, and we'd find our own rhythm, and we kind of just felt what felt right for us, and we're doing all the. And then I don't know. I just keep hearing more and more about it, where it just kind of sounds goofy. I'm like, that doesn't sound cool, really. And then the other guys talking about how Anakin Skywalker blew up the Death Star, and it's like, okay, I don't think these people know anything about Star Wars. I really hope. I'm hoping for the best, but man, I am skeptical. But it's got potential to be a really good show. I just really hope they land it.
The internet's going to lose its mind over the laser whip. That's for sure.
Yeah, they're already starting to. Even that was in Legends, technically, but we'll see how it actually looks in live action.
And those one guys have it in the Clone Wars, too, like the slave trader guys have something
Anakin
close.
fights them. Yeah.
Oh, in the show, Clone Wars, they got it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're not like they wrap around wrists and like shock them, but it doesn't like take out their arm like an actual lightsaber.
That's not a
would.
saber. It doesn't.
But in Legends, they did have actual like. And I think Bane, the girl he was like infatuated with, in the first book, Path of Destruction, Bethany. Something. She had a lightsaber whip, which I totally forgot, but she is described as having a lightsaber whip in it. So it's been around, but I don't have a lot of faith in how it's going to look in live action, but we'll see.
My problem with it is if you introduce it at this time period, at this time in real life, it's like, well, where has it ever been in any of the previous movies or movies that came after? Why are you doing it now? It's a stupid concept. A lightsaber's a lightsaber, dude. It's fine if you want to bust out another handle on the other side of the handle, or bust out another blade on the other side of the handle. Have it spinning around. I mean, you're getting a little too far there. That's fine, though. But if you're making it into a whip, I mean, it's just a little too much. For lightsabers, that's just something you should really just keep traditional, classic. Like, that's the whole thing.
We'll see what they do with it. We'll see. But definitely skeptical.
It defeats the purpose of a whip.
So they got
like why would a whip need to be a laser? You know,
Right.
if a whip, the point of a whip is supposed to be a painful slap that's not like injuring to your.
What is
I
that
saw
in?
somebody trying to explain that it's going to be less powerful when it's in whip form.
Oh,
So
So-
it might not actually decapitate and like,
Right.
cut through
more.
limbs.
Okay, that helps.
But it also seemed like they were just trying to backpedal, explain to the internet without getting yelled at, you know?
True.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm actually pretty optimistic about Acolyte because it's not like we got a replacement of CEO like Iger and Chapek, but at the same time, Kathleen Kennedy has got to learn from her mistakes at some point. The whole franchise has to at some point, and like I don't know. I have a feeling this one's going to be really cool, and I just love that it's outside of the stuff we're used to because Ahsoka has so much canon to, tailor to this and that. But this. I'm excited to see an isolated Star Wars show like Andor, except with freaking lightsabers. They gave us Andor. The Andor was fantastic. So,
Andor was good.
They're doing things right. This could be a Jedi version of Andor and be awesome.
There's still supposed to be a second season of Andor come out sometime, right?
Yeah, I thought maybe 3.
Is there?
Maybe.
I know it's supposed to end
Yeah.
right where Rogue One starts. That's all I know.
Yeah, I don't
they really
remember
keep
if it's 2 or
backpedaling
3.
on that specific storyline, which is fine.
There's
Rogue
a
One
new-
was awesome.
A new Mace Windu book coming out in October, I think. I'm going to be interested in that.
Yeah,
Is
curious
it a
what that's
comic
about.
or a...
It's a book. Like a
I
novel.
think he might have a comic coming out too.
I think he might probably.
Well, Shatterpoint's really popular. That's
Yeah.
the Mace Windu.
I've heard a
I
lot
haven't
about
read
that.
it. I don't know if you have, Mark.
I haven't read
that's
that one.
It's really popular, and I'm like, I've never been a fan of the character I want to be, though. If that makes sense. So if you bust out a good Mace Windu book, I'm gonna give it a shot. He has my favorite lightsaber. All right, so there's Star Wars. Let's just real quick get into DC before we get out of here. So you said, all right, so you're skeptical, rightfully so. I'm as optimistic as I am about Acolyte or Thunderbolts. I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure this is going to dethrone Marvel in like 3 years. Well, which isn't a lot to say right now. But I mean, I feel like it's going to reach Infinity Saga peak, reach that level, maybe even surpass it, since he's going to do some of this rated R, and he's a comic book guy, man. He saw Marvel succeed throughout this whole thing, did 3 great Guardians movies. We know he does great with multiple characters, giving them all their time to shine. And after Guardians 3, we could see him get more serious and emotional, and it wasn't like Guardians 2 threw in way more jokes, and it was like really funny. It was one of the funniest Marvel movies, but at the same time, it was a few too many forced jokes, and I was worried the third would do that. Went the opposite way. Right? So he could. So he's got that range. I mean, dude, DC's gonna kill it, bro.
I hope so. They got some opportunities. Definitely got some cool stories to tell. Like, because they're starting it off with the new Superman.
Yeah, technically Creatures Commandos, but that's an animated thing. So
yeah, Superman, Peacemaker season 2, and then Supergirl.
Peacemakers.
It's super confusing though, because season 1 they're totally leaving behind, like it's not canon anymore. So I'm very confused at how that works. So they're just not continuing this story; they're just starting a brand new story in season 2, which I don't know how that works. But there's a lot of promising stuff. Lantern series. I mean, Brave and the Bold. Cool, he confirmed on social media that Deathstroke is absolutely in the works. Like, he has a plan for Deathstroke. He will be coming to the DCU. So there's definitely a lot of stuff that gets me stoked. I think I have more hope in the DCU than Star Wars, I guess, at this point. But
the new Joker 2 is not part of it at all, though, right? The new Joker.
No, it's Elseworlds. Just like Batman 2. It'll be in the DC, but it won't actually be a part of that. Yeah.
Because I heard that's going to be a musical partly.
Yep, musical.
Yeah, that's the concern.
We'll singing in the rain.
No doubt.
What'd you think of the Joker 2 trailer?
I mean, I really like the Joker, the first one. And the trailer seems pretty interesting, but the first one was like just a standalone movie, I felt like. I don't know how you're going to go on from that, I really liked the ending of the first one, how you're like, you're not sure if he was crazy the whole time or like what's going on, kind of, that. But yeah, I don't know. Musicals generally aren't my cup of tea.
I will say,
would love... Go ahead.
So I was just going to say, one of the guys who I believe, the cinematographer said it's not a musical per se. It just has music in it. The music is part of the film and the characters, but I don't know if it's a musical. So there's a lot of, people are starting to kind of walk that back now.
As long as Bradley Cooper don't come out of some random spot and start singing.
Duets with Lady Gaga. Yeah.
Or Tobey Maguire, for that matter.
I'm there for that.
No, it's... I think the music part will probably play very similarly like his little fake girlfriend did in the first movie. That's what I think the music's going to be. It's obviously, I think everyone thinks it's just going to be in his head. Like, One thing I do want to see out of this, one thing I would want out of a sequel to specifically the Joker, is to see him become the Kingpin. Kingpin of Gotham. That's what I would like to see, and it doesn't look like they're going that direction. But where else could you go with the Joker?
I know, and you can make it real seedy and like dirty with that one too. He could do a good job.
He could be playing musicals while he's taking over Gotham, for all we know. I don't know where else you would go with the character.
Some great circus music behind it too.
Yeah, it would be really cool if he was like anti-hero-ish. He would see people maybe like assaulting a woman and
cops or
something, which would be, I mean, it's the Joker, it's the last person that would be an anti-hero. But I mean, I don't care if it's an anti-hero. I just want to see him become the Kingpin, that's what he is. He's the freaking Kingpin. He's the crime lord, man. Kind of. I guess he's not like the Penguin, but he rules Gotham.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Corn Sweat. Did you see the images of Superman's costume?
I did the new Superman, but I can't remember what was about it.
Well, it was. I don't. The interwebs love it, dude. I don't care about his freaking costume. Show me a trailer. That's what I'm excited for. I don't care really what he looks like. I mean, I looked at it and I formed an opinion, but who gives a shit? I'm more interested in casting and characters. Like, that there's going to be Green Lantern. Guy Gardner's going to be in this movie, right?
So it's not starting off with little Clark Kent.
No, we're not going origin. He says everything's established already.
Good. That's a good move.
You like that?
I do.
Okay.
I feel like that's one of the DC's problems is they're always just a step behind what Marvel just did.
True.
Because I thought if they skipped ahead to where Justice League's already established, maybe even got the space station out there, maybe some Teen Titans, Young Justice stuff going on the sides, you could go all sorts of crazy options with all those,
It totally opens the door to hundreds of movies you can make.
Oh, yeah. And I did like Blue Beetle.
I didn't love Blue Beetle. I didn't love it. I liked some stuff about it a lot. I'll say that, but overall, I wasn't a big fan. It was so generic for me. It was the same thing I've seen.
I might be a little biased because Alicia's not big into him, but she loved that one, so maybe I got a little
energy off that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If your wife is down to watch a comic movie, I don't care which one it is. Like it's a good time.
It does make it better. Yeah, 100%. You have a better take on it. You're like, it wasn't that bad.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Like, hell yeah, I can do it. Yeah. The Marvels, you got it.
So the Penguin trailer, though, did you see that one?
I did. The Penguin looks good.
Oh, it looks fantastic.
Did I see something where Danny DeVito was talking about wanting to play the Penguin again?
Good God.
I thought I saw something where
I think I saw something like that, too.
Said he was talking about it. Because
I've never even seen the Batman 2, or whatever you call it, with Keaton.
Batman Returns.
You should watch
Danny DeVito.
Is it better than the first one?
Like the first one with what's his name as the Joker?
Jack Nicholson.
Keaton. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's super cheesy. It's got that good cheesiness to it.
I know. It's hard to watch, kind of.
It's very different.
Yeah.
It's Tim Burton. I mean, it's Tim Burton.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's some cool aspects from it. But a lot of it is nostalgia because I watched it as a kid. So when I go back and watch it now, I'm just like, oh yeah, I don't know how it would be watching it for a first time.
Dave, does Penguin supposed to be rated R?
Yeah, or TVMA.
Okay, so do you think we'll get? I don't know. They're gonna go far with Penguin, probably.
I was gonna say it looks like it's got to be right.
And it's HBO, but I wonder how far. Like Game of Thrones far, or like Sons of Anarchy far?
What's his name's dick hanging out?
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna go that far with it.
I could see like chest nudity at most.
Some gnarly, weird murdering with however Penguin can come up with doing something heinous.
I think it'll be Netflix Daredevil levels of.
Okay. Well, I think it would. Well, they did Peacemaker. I think they'll go like past. I think they'll go into rated R territory, and they might say the F word.
Oh yeah, they will. It's Penguin. It's TVMA. Well, he's going to be dropping F-bombs left and right.
And Gunn said a ton of the DCU will be rated R.
Straight up. That's wild. It's a wild direction.
So cool. Like they're never going to do a Batman rated R because he's one of the most popular characters. But could you imagine a rated R Batman movie, like with Deathstroke as the villain and Damian as Robin? That would be crazy,
right?
But so Green Lantern and Superman, Mr. Fantastic is in Superman, Hawk Girl, she might be hot too, but Hawk Girl is in Superman. Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult is cast. What do you think of that casting?
I think it'd be all right.
Yeah, I think so too. I've seen some more images and stuff, and it's looking pretty solid.
And as long as you get that supervillain down, I think you could do a good job with Lex.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Hawk Girl comes out all right. They haven't had a history of good luck with the Hawk Man and Hawk Girl.
What have they done? They've done nothing on the big screen, right?
I want to say they're
Black Adam.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, that wasn't a memorable one there.
The Hawk people have a lot of potential there. They're very mythological. They're from another planet. They're like immortal. They're
and they
violent.
kind of got
they're
kind of
like
got that thing
warriors.
where they're not too well known, so you could do whatever you want with them.
Yeah.
You know, like kind of like the
Right.
Moon Knight was really good for that. Where like
Yeah.
he wasn't a well-known superhero, so you're not like jaded with your preconceived notions. You know.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Moon Knight was dope. I love that. I
Knight's
liked
good.
Hawkman and Black Adam for what we got. I mean, he was a little obnoxious when he was talking, but action scene wise, he was pretty sick.
He was too naggy.
Yeah, he was just one note. He just kept doing the same deal. Like, all right, I guess we're fighting. It's like, okay, bro, this is the 7th scene. You have started off doing that. Like, can we get some type of new like?
Right. That was ridiculous. They
beating
fought
it
like
over the
4
head.
times after arguing. It was like kids.
Bro, it was getting a little annoying.
But I love the Justice, whatever they were in that movie.
Yeah.
One more thing before we wrap it up. Let's hear what you have to say about Damian as Robin. So we found out Batman Brave and the Bold is going to have a Robin, and Damian Wayne will be that Robin. So, I mean, there's a ton of thoughts on that with me, like, because he was the 4th Robin, I think, 4th or 5th. Does Nightwing exist? Does Red Hood exist? Does Tim Drake exist? You know, like, I'm excited that this universe is already established with characters, but I kind of want to see some of them just meet for the first time and interact for the first time. I always thought the Bat family could be a perfect little micro MCU in the DCU. If you want to have everyone established, they're not going to do this because we know Damian's coming now, but it would have been cool to have, like, sure, Batman and Superman are already there, but he just met Dick Grayson this time. You know, a movie or two later, he meets Jason Todd, but no, we're not getting that. But I love Damian. I'm fine with it. We'll see where they go. How do you feel about it?
Damian starting, you could have little flashbacks throughout there of like Nightwing shows up in a scene, and then it kind of shows Batman flashback to when they kind of got, you know, like you could establish the Bat family pretty well, I think.
True.
And
I think
like
flashbacks are going to be a thing.
Especially if they explain his whole story, how he's Batman's kid and Ra's al Ghul's daughter and all that, kind of go into that. She got to figure the, what are they called? The assassins or whatever got to be around somewhere.
Wait. The
Shadows.
Shoot.
League of Shadows.
League of Shadows. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
The League.
So I was thinking Ra's al Ghul is going to be the main villain. I'm confident in that because how else are you going to bring Damian in without explaining his lineage, his mom, grandpa? And they have this resurrection of Ra's al Ghul story in the comics where he wants Damian's body for the youth. You know, he could transfer his consciousness into Damian's body. Damian's body's like the best on the planet if you include youth, skill, strength, all that stuff. I'm like confident that's the story of Brave and Bold. Ra's al Ghul's main villain. He's trying to put himself into Damian's body. That's what I think is going to happen.
And you could even see because wasn't one of the other Robins revived by the Lazarus Pool at some point in time?
Jason Todd, become the Red Hood. Ooh, what if that plays a role into
Drops
it?
right in there, right?
Because the Lazarus Pit is all about Damian or Ra's al Ghul. That would be awesome. What if, what if Jason Todd is the current Robin for Brave and the Bold, and then Damian comes, but Joker kills. Something happens and they die, and you got to revive Jason Todd at the end. That would be crazy. Or if he dies at the end of this movie.
Right.
Dude, you have a Robin, but you have a current son. That seems like a James Gunn drama story. If you already have a Robin, but you have this new super athletic son, or, like assassins, like now there's a conflict. Well, I want to be Robin. And in the comics, when Damian came, that was Tim Drake. No, but he just came in and beat the shit out of Tim Drake. And like he's like, I'm gonna be Robin now, mother. What if they have Jason Todd as Robin? He does that to Jason Todd, and at the end, they gotta revive. Or Jason Todd dies at the end, and then we have a Red Hood story in the works.
See, and
Far-fetched, but that's sick.
Well, and I like the idea of already being in FAR and having the options for those things to happen,
Right.
Instead of like trying to redo Batman again and again, because that's it. Everybody's already got their Batman, But if you extend the Bat family and all that. Oh yeah, there's possibility there, especially with Gunn in charge, for sure.
So true. That's the key to making this Batman unique, is the Bat family around him. We've never had a serious Batman and Robin. I mean, we've had it on the big screen, but not after the era of... not the era
Joel
of,
Schumacher awfulness.
Dark Knight and all that.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, any other thoughts on the future of any nerd? Oh, Dune 2. Let's just real quick. What do you think of Dune 2?
Dune
Get
2?
rolling. I gotta hop out of here,
sorry.
but y'all can keep it rolling. No, you're good. You're good. I
right.
told Megan I'd be off at like 8:30. Y'all have
Sorry,
a good
bro.
one. Mark, it was good talking with you. No, you're good.
You too.
Keep it
Take
rolling.
care, my friend.
Yes, sir, brother.
Later.
You too, JD.
I love you. I mean,
Yeah, Dune 2 was good.
Yeah.
Tell you the truth, I still haven't watched Dune 1, though. I went and seen Dune 2 in theaters, but I never watched Dune 1 so far.
no, that's going to work out. I think Dune 1 is so much better after watching Dune 2.
Oh, yeah? Damn, now I gotta watch it.
Because, like, when I first watched Dune 1, I wasn't a big fan. I actually watched it a second time before Dune 2, and I actually liked the first one a lot. Anyway,
Yeah.
but then, yeah, after Dune 2, I freaking loved the first one.
No doubt,
Dune
no
2,
doubt.
Dune 2 is a top 5 movie all time. I thought it was
It's
so
pretty good. I liked it. I even bought the book, actually. I haven't started reading it, but I want to read it now.
too.
'Cause everybody's like, that's where Star Wars came from. I'm like, well, fuck, I gotta read that now.
Yeah, dude. I bought the book, but it's hard for me to get into it because I have a tough time if I already know the story. Like a
No
book is
doubt.
kind of a chore. If you don't know the story, it really feels like a chore. So it's like I'm having a tough time starting, but that makes me want to start just Dune Messiah because I have
Yeah.
the general
Idea.
you know, I know what happens after Dune 2 or whatever. And it'd be really nice to just do Dune Messiah, have a fresh story. I have no idea where it's going to go.
Right. Yeah, and it is nice to read a book when you're just reading it and you want to know what happens next instead of already knowing where
Right.
it's headed.
Well, because I'm rereading I'm reading Revenge of the Sith novelization, and it's super freaking good.
Is
but
it?
I still have. It's so good, dude. Like compared to the movie, I like the movie too, but yeah, it's just drawn out. You get to see what they're thinking while they're fighting Dooku, running through to find Grievous. Like all the insight. It's just so good. But I still have the trouble because I know where the story's
You know
going.
what's
so
going
it's
on.
like,
Right.
yeah, I'm not like super excited to pick it up.
That's one thing that makes me sad about George R.R. Martin saying every year he's going to come out with the Last Winds of Winter book. Because I don't think I could read all the Game of Thrones books again.
No, dude, exactly. That's a great point. I'm
way
not
too
rereading
much.
that.
No.
I'm not rereading
No.
that. Like maybe when I'm 60 and I got, me and the wife are just chilling at home and nothing to do, I might go through Game of Thrones again. But
Right,
I mean,
forgot about it all, then
yeah,
it'll be good.
Like
but
that's something. Once it's finished, I will reread the whole thing once in my life, maybe.
right, if I get around to it.
But man, yeah, I don't even remember the differences. I remember Catelyn Stark. The differences in the books, like she's a zombie seeking revenge. That you find her character crawling out of like creeks,
The Gray Lady,
swamps.
Oh
She's
yeah,
like
there
a
was
zombie.
so much going on in the book.
Yeah,
The other Targaryens and stuff.
the other Targaryens, the other, freaking what are the Black Islanders? What are they called? Like Greyjoy. Yeah, the Greyjoys. There was another Greyjoy off to marry
Oh yeah,
Daenerys, while freaking what's his name from the show was still doing his thing with the King's Moot taking over the Iron Islands.
right. The crazy.
So it was
fucking-
Victarion. Victarion was his
Mm-hmm.
name. Yeah, there's a way more shit going on.
But yeah, it was such a disheartening ending. It's just hard to get excited about. Even the new one
I know.
coming out, I'm like, I'll watch it. But
I'm excited. I am. Did you like House of the Dragon, the first season?
I did. I've
Why,
also.
why aren't you super stoked about this one?
I mean, it should be good. I hope there's just. I already know what's going to happen. Kind of. I've already read the Targaryen
fine.
books and stuff like that.
Okay, I haven't done that.
They do play pretty
Fire-
well though, and this one should be really good with hopefully a bunch of dragon fights and just gnarly battles. Pretty much, Targaryen on Targaryen action, and not like
That's
the
fire
Lannister
and-
style.
That's Fire and Blood, right?
Yeah, there's Fire and Blood, and then they have like those two other ones that kind of explain it. They have like pictures in them and stuff. They're just like the big kind of.
Knights of the Seven Kingdoms and stuff.
No, Knights of the Seven Kingdoms. That one with Egg and Sir Duncan the Tall and Egg. 'Cause
Okay.
that would be a cool show. There's supposed to be another book of that, but I just got no faith in George R.R. Martin for that either.
Yeah.
Did you ever read that one?
No, I haven't read any of the side books. So let me ask you this. So for me, Feast of the Crows and Dance of the Dragons got pretty slow for me. So my question to you is Fire and Blood better than those two books?
Some parts are, like, especially when you get into the Dance of the Dragons and the action, but then sometimes there's like some of the kings were kind of slow paced, didn't have too much.
Gotcha.
Like the king at the beginning of the first Viserys, the first or whatever, that one. Like, his part's not too action just because he was a peaceful king or whatever, but there's some really good parts. Out of all the books, this Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, I would almost say, is the best read.
That was my next question. Okay.
It's written very well. Sir Duncan the Tall is like a big knight, and then Egg's like a Targaryen kid who doesn't really want to be a Targaryen kind of thing, just running around having their antics kind of thing. Because he becomes king. I can't remember which king he is, but Egg becomes one of the Targaryen kings before the show starts and stuff.
Is it a linear story?
Yeah, Sir Duncan the Tall is. It's
so
just
Knights of the Seven Kingdoms, okay. Because Fire and Blood dances around a lot, timeline, right?
No, I think Fire and Blood's straight, like, chronological. Oh. It starts with what's his name coming over from Valyria.
It reads like a history book, right?
Kind of, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Knights of the Seven Kingdoms reads like a story?
Yeah, Knights of the Seven Kingdoms, just a story about those two dudes running around doing their...
Okay. So I need to read that. That sounds...
It's a good one. It's really... And there's supposed to be a second one, like I said, but yeah, I'd definitely check that one out if you're sitting around looking for something to read.
Yeah, I'm going to look at Amazon prices here soon.
No doubt.
All right, well, let's wrap this up. Thanks for joining us on our comic book review, along with a bunch of other nerd talk. Again, don't forget to follow us on TikTok, Twitter, X, and Instagram at Why So Sidious Pod, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for everybody listening.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Mark, for coming. You're the man. One of the, let's say, 17 best people on the planet, along with the other two hosts of this podcast. Just good people. We'll see you next time.